Hi, I'm Corinne, and this is Free Press Fail. I'm here with John Burnett, and the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago just went live like 10 minutes ago. Merrick Garland promised, and Trump asked him to release the search warrant the FBI used as justification to raid his home on Monday. And I don't know if you've had a chance to read it, so I'll just update you. Apparently, the reason for the search was because they believed that Trump possibly violated the Espionage Act. And in the receipt of items they took from his place, they are saying they found several documents that were marked with clearance, TSSEI, and a couple handwritten notes that they say are classified, and something labeled info regarding the president of France. So clearly, this seems really very, very serious stuff here. um, I don't think that this is going to get them out of the hole that they've dug. This seems to be a very unpopular move. And even with this explanation, I think people feel exactly the same way they did yesterday. What about you?
Well, I think when I think about the actual search warrant, I look at that as a book cover. It lets you know what the title is, what to expect. But I think we need to get at the heart of the search warrant, which are like the chapters and the verses. And in that case, it's the affidavits that we want to see, the sworn statements as to really the granular reasons why the search warrant was requested. That's what I want to see. And I want to see who are these individuals that actually signed the affidavits, in addition to what the affidavits stated. So I think that's where we have to, that's what the investigative reporter should be getting at, the affidavits and the report out to the American people.
Yeah, I think you're right. But even then, I think that the FBI has lost so much trust with the American public throughout this witch hunt, actually specifically related to how they've handled cases with Donald Trump in the past, that even if we see these affidavits, we know, there's a lot of false information that goes into those statements where there are people on trial right now for lying to get FISA warrants against Donald Trump. So I'm interested to see what they ended up working out, but I still think even with those released documents, people are going to have so many questions. And I
Yeah.
think the FBI really underestimated the outrage that something like this was going to cause, and it's going to be difficult for them, even with all that documentation released, to earn favor and trust back with all of us. I mean, I know for
Yeah.
me, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And the only way to bring trust back is to bring accountability. And the only way to bring accountability is to actually take a deeper dive into the affidavits. And if we can't get that information now, then we'll just have to get it as soon as the new Congress comes in, which hopefully will be governed by Republicans in terms of heading up the Senate as well as the House to have an inquiry, a hearing, whatever you want to call it, but a deeper dive to begin to hold the DOJ, FBI, whoever was involved, accountable, because we cannot continue under this, how can I say, it's almost like a regime.
Definitely.
Or a coup to undermine our American values and undermine our political process. It's August, right? Monday will be mid-August. Usually there's a bombshell of some sort or something crazy that happens in October. Now it's moved up to August, right? And it's ahead of the midterm elections, which is pivotal, right? Something like this for top cocktail napkins and invitations to events and all this other superficial, so-called classified information that could have waited until after November 8th.
Well, and I think the election is what it comes down to, not just the 2022 elections, but the 2024 elections. I think there seems to be this very orchestrated effort to prevent Donald Trump from running for office again. And if they can't prevent him by making him not want to, they want to somehow eliminate him from being on the ticket at all. So it's nice. So if they can somehow trump up some political charges or politicized criminal charges, then he cannot run. And I always say, like, I think there are people in DC, they think Trump is the issue. But when they do something like this to eliminate him from the ticket, you're not insulting Donald Trump, you're insulting American voters. You're saying
True.
that you don't trust them to put the right guy on the ticket. You don't trust them to put the right guy in office. And I think that that is a repeated issue. That's what they did in 2016 when they trumped up the investigation to spy on his campaign. We know that happened now. People are on trial for that now.
Right.
And it comes down to it. It's not about Trump. It's about the American people. And there's a political elite that believe we cannot be trusted to make this.
That's exactly what I said on Newsmax today. I said, you know what? It's so obvious now. They're making it so obvious, right? Yes, they're going after Trump because Trump represents the American people on the right and in the center. And they cannot move forward with their liberal world order, right? With the American people that are on the center right. So that way they have to remove them. What better way than taking out someone that's at the head, right? So they want to damage him as much as possible, just in general. And to your point, try to damage him more than what they've already tried to do with the 2 impeachments and so forth, and stop him from 2024. And if possible, discourage those who are linked to Trump, who are actually ahead in the polls in the 2022 election, try to go after them as well, right? But I think it's all going to fall flat because even those that are at a higher level and mainstream, who on the left, who still have some common sense, can see like, wait a second, this is a step too far. Now you're actually not just going after political opponents and the opposition on the right, you're actually undermining American values.
Yeah, they don't trust us to make the decision. They are so afraid that what we will do is vote for Trump, which if that is what people wanted to do, they should be allowed to do it. That's the foundation of our republic, but I think there are too many, people. I know the establishment hates the term deep state, but that is what we're facing here. Is there are a political ruling class. We saw it in the impeachment trials where, the leaker, Alexander Vindman, the reason that he was so mad at Trump is because he's a national security advisor and he thought the president didn't take his advice because he believes as a political appointee that he has the ultimate authority to make national security decisions. And he was so insulted that someone elected by the people would reject his amazing, beautiful opinion. He's an academic elite. He deserves to have the final call here. And they don't understand that the person who gets the final call is the person the people put in office.
Right.
And we see this coming head to head now. I think it's been discussed for a couple of decades. Like, Ron Paul, the Ron Pauls of the world had been muttering about this, about the state thinks that they have this authority. We see it now. There is no denying that is what happens. It is the clash right now between the people who believe they are in charge and the people who have been put in charge by the people. And I think you're right. It's a step too far. I think even the non-political people who are just kind of
right
in it every 4 years are like, what the heck is happening now? And we're seeing it. They're trying to grow that same ruling class with these new bills to expand the IRS, to militarize the IRS, basically. And
but see, here's the thing, though, right? Their plan is so obvious, and we have to piece things together. They're saying that no, this is to go after the billionaires and the millionaires and the wealthy, right? Not the working class. But what did they just recently pass, right? I think the threshold is what, $600 for those payment apps like Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, and so forth, right? So that's not $1 million, net worth type of threshold, right? That's everyday working class threshold. So many of these agents are not just going to be going after just the tax returns. They're going to be looking at activity reports that segue into tax return reviews and audits of the working class. So this is a holistic plan. They pass that first and a few other things. Then they staff in order for people, in the IRS to start going after the American people.
Oh, yeah.
So obvious now.
And I hate that I forgot who this is because I always like to give credit for good points, but I was reading, if it was about billionaires, we have less than 10,000 billionaires to go out.
724.
Yeah. Oh wow, we have less than 1,000 billionaires.
Yes.
We need almost 90,000 IRS agents to target them. I don't think so. How many agents per billionaire are you currently assigning if that is what you think? So, like you said, it is just too obvious. It's too transparent. But again, they ask you, like, what are you going to believe? Your own mind? Your own eyes?
And then they say, oh, well, there's been a lot of complaints that the IRS doesn't answer the phone. Yeah, so the IRS is going to invest into customer service.
Which is not what the job postings say. As I know, it's been made viral, basically, is that they're asking, and this I think has been part of the IRS job listing forever, but now it's going viral because they're expanding so rapidly or hoping to expand. But they ask that their IRS agents be willing to carry a gun, be willing to use deadly force. That's not someone, you don't ask someone who's going to be answering the phone, like, hey, would you be willing to shoot your fellow American if it came down to it? That's not a customer service job. That is a militarized enforcement, which is what the IRS is. They are basically.
But let's be honest, right? If I was an IRS agent and I was shaking people down, changing lives, I think I might want to carry a gun too, because I would think that one of those people might be coming after me. But to get to the heart of your point, yeah, they shouldn't be approaching that from a proactive measure, right?
Yeah, at least don't lie to us about it. You are hiring enforcement agents. That is what is happening. You are not improving customer service experience. This isn't. You are not making it easier for me to pay somebody. You are making it easier for them to shake us down.
Exactly. And let's not forget, it is a collection agency that doesn't negotiate, right? They're worse than the mob, right?
Oh, they are. I mean, yeah, they are the mob. And the only ones, actually, the only ones who were ever able to take down the mob, the IRS.
Yeah,
that's how they always get the mobsters. Always get the people operating outside of the law. They get them through the IRS. So in a way, the only thing more powerful than the mob is the Internal Revenue Service, which I think is a little bit scary now that they're targeting the average American. But that's how they got Al Capone. That's how they got Joe Conforti, who is still hiding outside of America. I'm a Nevadan, so that's our favorite story. The brothel king. He's still hiding outside of America because of tax evasion, not because of prostitution. And they won't even let him come back. He's tried to negotiate, and they took all of his property already. They sold all of it.
But look at the look at how that contrasts to how America got started, right? In terms of revolting against England based upon the high level of taxes. And then here we are today hiring 87,000 IRS agents. Like that is amazing, right? What is that telling us? That's telling us that freedoms, the ones that are remaining, are in jeopardy. And yeah, we have to really start thinking about what Obama said in terms of fundamentally changing America, right? And what Biden has said recently in terms of we are in transition. Maybe he wasn't only talking economically, right? So we got to actually start listening to what these people are saying and tying it to their actions and their agenda.
Yeah, they keep telling us, and we keep thinking they're not serious, but they are not lying. They mean exactly what they say. Yeah, and I think the same thing, the FBI, I think with all of the defund the police rhetoric and all the anti-law enforcement sentiment of the left, I think the right has kind of overcompensated to say, we back the blue, we back law enforcement. And they get a little bit on edge about calling the FBI out right now because we don't want to be the party of the defund the police. That's not us, that's them. But the FBI are the worst cops ever. They're the worst police. They're the worst law enforcement ever, and they always have been. And we try to say, there's a few bad eggs. No, they're bad. That's a bad agency. It always has been. Woodrow Wilson used the FBI to go after political opponents in the 20s, before the 20s, late teens, because they were anti-World War I and he was pro it. The FBI has always been a politicized agency. They are all bad eggs. The whole thing is rotten. It always has been. and defund the FBI. Heard it here.
Defund the FBI, defund the IRS. I don't think anybody, whether it be left, right, or center, would be against those.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, especially defund the IRS, defund the FBI. They've become, for the FBI, they didn't become. They started as the secret police, and the IRS has certainly become that. We saw that under Obama with targeting based on political affiliation, religious affiliation. We had rogue IRS agents asking people, the content of their prayers to determine their tax status. So right. I can only see that expanding. And then on top of it, whenever they increase enforcement of tax law, they're just increasing the amount of money that you're going to have to give the government. And couldn't come at a worse time. Right. Gas prices are so high, inflation is so high. Basically, everyone has taken a massive pay cut under this administration because your dollar just does not go as far as it used to. And right. Now they're saying they want more of it. Pretty terrible. But I guess, Kamala did tell us that inflation is 0% now. So maybe it is a good time to increase taxes.
Well, the thing is that who would, I see them as repo officers. Yeah. They want to repossess, the wealth that you generated and empower themselves. And it's at the wrong time. You don't spend people's money to go after people's money.
It's hitting us from all sides. And the people who struggle most are never the billionaires. They have lots of money to spare, and they have the best accountants and lawyers to fight everything that the IRS throws at them. But,
and they have the money to structure a settlement if there's any money owed. Absolutely. Right? But the average person, they don't have any muscle or strength to force a settlement.
Yep. It is there's no way to actually spin that it targets rich people. This will always hurt middle class and lower. You're never going to touch those millionaires and billionaires. They've got it all figured out. They've got the best teams, and like you said, the settlement options. But
and they get a different number. They get a number that they can call that the IRS actually picks up.
Yeah. Yes, but I will say, if you ever want to fast track, you harass your congressman in their local offices, and they will harass the IRS for you. That is one of the main jobs of those district offices. So if you ever get in trouble with the IRS, make your congressman harass the IRS. I will say that's the best service that you could do. Make the government work for you. They do have those advocates in your congressional office.
Well, they'll probably check their donor list first to see if you actually gave a donation.
At this point, you can't expect them not to be as politicized as everybody else. But it is just crazy. And then for this administration this week to tell us that gas prices are down and inflation is 0, and it's the most steeply declining gas prices we've ever seen in the last decade or whatever. Thanks Joe Biden, he helped make this economy better. I just can't believe they say it with a straight face at this point.
Yeah, straight lies.
Yeah.
Right. And Twitter comes out with a new policy right ahead of the midterm elections. But it's a week too late, right? They should have started last week. Why? Because they missed the opportunity to label everything that Biden said with regard to zero inflation as false and misleading information. and label all of the CNN, MSNBC in terms of trying to redefine RAID and call it only a search. All of that should have been flagged.
Yeah. And recession. It's not a recession.
Exactly.
Perfect timing. That is a good point. Perfect timing on Twitter's part. We're going to start it just a few weeks after.
Men can have babies.
Hey, that is a major Twitter violation. If you don't agree that men can have babies, you will be kicked off Twitter. And actually, TikTok is very strict. I one time used the wrong pronoun in a video, and TikTok took it down, and I appealed it, and they're like, nope, that was very offensive to transgender. You used the wrong pronoun.
Wow.
Actually, okay. Strict, which is funny because in China, you're not even allowed to have gay people in movies. But
interesting.
But on TikTok, if you use the wrong pronoun, you're not allowed to do it. I got to be more careful. I got a little too flippant about my pronoun usage.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, but it is funny. The misinformation is completely controlled. Like the party controls the language. It's 1984 Orwellian kind of stuff now that we're seeing. It's not a recession. It's not inflation. It's not Twitter's fake.
Well, they probably won't tag it as misinformation because to be honest, it's not even misinformation. It's disinformation.
It's intentional misleading. It's the coordination, I think, is what gets me the most, because I get it. Like, Twitter is a private company, YouTube, private company. They can set their own terms of service. And I want to say that's a good thing. Everybody should be able to do that. But what really gets me is this coordination between the administration and the private corporations that creates this like fascist ecosystem where it's not free speech, it's not free market. It is completely determined by the head of the state what these companies decide to enforce, and that coordination is where it gets scary for me.
Right.
If they were just banning stuff, willy nilly, it would be one thing, but it's so coordinated.
And it's also the rules aren't as structured as they may seem. The rules are very fluid. Mm-hmm. They can attach whatever rule to whatever situation that they deem inappropriate at that time, with no consistency and very little merit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the IRS.
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually,
and they both, in Twitter and the IRS, always say, oh, we're here to help.
The scariest words in the English language. But actually, I think that's all I have this week. But on that note, our video got banned on YouTube last week. I had to appeal it. It's back up now. They let us.
That's actually a badge of honor, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. They labeled us misinformation, and I was able to appeal it. I cited a lot of sources, and we got down. We lost about 3 days of views, but we're back up, and hopefully they don't do that to this video. So we'll see. But if they do,
we're in that hypersensitive time frame between now and November 8th.
Yeah, you really got. I think it's all you. It wasn't me that got us. So you got to watch it from now on. Just kidding, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll speed up the whole week before our next episode, and we won't have to appeal anything again. But
cool.
That is all I had to discuss this week. It's been a good news week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, take care.
Thanks, John.